Welcome back to a brand new album review on the channel. Today we're going to be covering Lil Tecca's album Plan A that just dropped last Friday. And we're going to be doing this video in kind of a new style. We have a tier list later on. We have a lot to cover. So like, comment, subscribe to both my channels. Join my Discord. Follow me over on Twitch. And let's jump into things. This album is 18 tracks. It runs 44 minutes. And to be honest, it really doesn't even feel like that. It actually seems just slightly shorter. And that probably has to do with just so many 2-minute kind of quick songs, and I'm not complaining either. I'd say shorter the better, honestly. I mean, I'd rather have that than some album with really long songs or something that just drags on and gets boring, which Lil Tecca is the opposite of. I'd say Tecca on this album continues to be consistent. It seems like every album in his catalog, he just kind of continues to deliver a track list where you take majority of the songs, definitely way more than there is skips every single time. I think this album, Plan A in particular, was actually set up exactly how I thought it was going to be. It went exactly as I expected it to be, honestly. It is kind of set up very similar to his album TEC that just dropped 1 year ago, which was kind of known as a big step for him and, you know, probably his best album. Tecca's rapping performances on this continue to be about, you know, himself and his lifestyle and his girls and that type of stuff. He can choose to have harder songs if he wants to, or he can get into a melodic bag when he wants to. I think Plan A was an example of yet another Tecca album of him doing his job well. It's one of his best projects, and I was just spinning TEC on CD last night, and I'm really torn on which one is better. I feel like I like TEC just slightly more right now, even though my answer could definitely change in a month or two. But please comment down below, do you guys think TEC or Plan A is his best album? I'm genuinely curious what you guys are thinking. So now we get to jump into the meat and potatoes, the front to back, song by song breakdown, where I can talk about the features and productions and songs I like, songs I hate, etc. I just feel like the tier list format did really good, and so I wanted to combine that with my review style. So let's go ahead and start this baby off with Taste. And you could say this song has kind of like a new jazz type of beat. It's extremely smooth. I think that synth that's kind of underlying in the song is super underrated. The chorus is really strong, and it's an R&B style that I honestly really kind of like from Tecca, and I hope he kind of does it more and continues to work on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Taste in S tier. As a strong opener, and this obviously transitions into one of the biggest bangers that Tecca has made in recent time with Bad Time. High energy, both of the verses are both rapped very well. This is the type of Tecca I like, that you can go out, play in your car in daytime. It's super replayable. That is definitely another S tier. And then you get 120, which was one of my grails coming into this, and I will say, just because it is slightly shorter, I will give it just an A tier. I don't know if it had another verse, maybe it would move up to S. It's got a stank face beat on it, and he has lines like "I don't care for you, I ain't Obama," which is just hilarious. So yeah, A tier for 120. And then we get Don Toliver on "I Can't Let You Go," which is the only feature on the album, and Don Toliver, it's basically his song. He brought the energy. This song might actually be a Hardstone Psycho throwaway from Don Toliver's album. I don't want Tecca's verse to go under the radar. I actually think it was pretty solid, even though it was short. His flow switches in there didn't go unnoticed, and so yeah, that song is also a cool A tier, and I think Tecca actually started this album off, you know, perfect, the way that he pretty much should have. And then Vogue, I'm gonna throw into B tier. Honestly, you know, the 808s, the drums, they're not bad. There's just something kind of not that interesting about this beat to me. It's definitely kind of missing something, but I appreciate Tecca coming in on a few of these tracks on Plan A, ready to just start rapping, and I love the Romani, Romani, Romani at the beginning. I do think the end of Vogue actually changes a lot, and you get that really nice transition into one of my favorites, being 24 Hours, which that song is definitely an S tier to me. Similar to Bad Time, it's that upbeat type of happy Tecca song that I really like. Keep Her, She On That Time In, Pull Up Raf, Go Find It. I don't know, that little kind of flow he had, first few bars in the chorus, it just, I don't know, it just really hits for me. I think I tweeted something about how he burned down the studio when he made this song, but he keeps the tempo up, and I love this part of the album here. It's my favorite track run because it transitions so beautifully into number 2, which is also very peak. I don't really know if I have too much to say about number 2. I mean, this is just kind of a banger. I feel like we can all agree on that, right, as Tecca fans? The Plan A singles were actually so incredibly strong. I think they remain all of the best songs on the album still, because we know when we had this song as a single, Neverlast, it was also very peak, and I'm not even joking. I'm putting Neverlast up in S tier. I don't care. I think this song is severely underrated still. And then the part in the transition in the beginning to 2, Never Last, oh my god, so good. And then Tecca just hits this melodic bag during the song and goes all these places, and it's just so good. I think number 2 to Never Last stays one of the best transitions and moments of this album. After that, you get Homebody, which kind of has a similar kind of feel to Never Last, I'd say. I'm gonna go ahead and put Homebody at B. Search and Destroy, She Blow Me Like an A-Bomb is honestly hilarious caption type of bar. Also, A also could mean, you know, plan A as well, so it's kind of funny. I think the song is most rewarding towards the end where you get those ooh-oohs in auto-tune, which actually sound really cool. I don't know if Tech has done that before, but that is a chill B tier type of song in my opinion. And then Self to Self, I gotta keep it real. This is like a flat out skip in my opinion. I respect the kind of freestyle vibe that it had. I just really don't like the low tone in his voice that he tried to go with. The song doesn't really seem like him. It sounds like he's trying to impersonate somebody else possibly. And it's only 2 minutes and it comes off a little boring, but I'm not gonna be so angry at it. Personally, for Tecca, Plan A, I don't know, that one just, yeah, not for me. Separate Ways is gonna be a B tier. This one actually grew on me a lot, mainly because of that chorus part. But yeah, Separate Ways, it's alright. It's a cool album song. There's sometimes songs in this portion of the track list, I will say, the last few tracks that aren't incredible. They're not all S tier. This part here is kind of the weakest of the album, I will say, this middle part. Time and a Place is gonna go to C. Now I put it down in C. I actually will bump this song with the album. My thing with this track was when you get that transition coming in, the 808s sound really nice. There's like trumpets or horns, kind of something in the background the whole time, which sounds really nice. I just didn't really like the way that they didn't really use that as much. Instead, I think this song is way too clouded with way too many hi-hats, and those are way too distracting in my opinion. It's kind of a little bit lazy from Tecca. I will say the chorus part, it catches me a few lines. I still think Tecca's like a good rapper, and he showcased that on plenty of tracks on Plan A, but I don't think Time and a Place is like one of them. But I will say from there we go back to way better places on this album. For instance, For You, it almost seems like Tecca has one of these tracks every single album. I think this is up in A tier. That one's hard to decide A or B for me, but what I mean by there's always one of these, I mean like a poppy Afrobeat almost inspired type of track. And I do think For You is replayable more than any of the last like 3 or 4 tracks. And then it kind of goes into Flowers pretty softly. The guitar beats are implemented a little bit here, and I think Flowers is a B tier. I could see why someone would really like this, especially an OG Tecca fan, because this song in a good way does remind me of older Tecca music, maybe of Virgo World or maybe older 2019 Tecca. It is solid. This was another one I think I was definitely sleeping on. It's one that I will play with the album, and Flowers is one that definitely grew on me a little bit as well. But I think a song similar to Flowers that just did a better job would be Cold Girls, which comes right after it, which is one of the catchiest songs on this entire track list. I will put it up in S tier. This was another grail for me, but yeah, when he's like hair brand new, nails brand new, I mean, it's so good. It is. Cold Girls is definitely the best song off the second half of this track list. Again, there's 18 in total, and I will say that it is a noticeable, you know, first half is more enjoyable for me in that listening experience, I will say. Track 16 is Mama, which I think is super underrated, and I'm actually putting this song in A tier. I do find myself having more replay value out of the S tier songs. I don't want to, you know, just put everything up in S tier and meat ride too hard, but Mama is another severely underrated track. I was hoping it was gonna go for that more sentimental, you know, important type of song, and it was inspiring, and it was a dedication to his mom. He talked about calling his dad in there. It was perfectly executed. It was the way I wanted it to be. I think the melody that Tecca had was so fire, especially on that chorus part, which kind of just loops into the outro, which I loved. But then some of these lines as well. Shit got risky when you thought I was gonna move to LA, mama, which, I mean, I couldn't even imagine what it was like back then. You know, obviously Tecca blew up in New York, but the way he blew up so fast with like a ransom and whatnot, but he probably had to make these decisions at such a young age to possibly move across the country or travel a ton because of his success at an early age, which Tecca, it's so cool to see him, you know, now in 2024 killing it and putting out his best albums and going on such a crazy run the last couple years. I think D1 is a, you know, more upbeat, cool track. I don't think the bar, you know, ballin' like D1 was great at all. It was pretty cookie cutter type of lyrics. lyrics. I kind of unfortunately knew the song was gonna say that, I guess, before I hit play. I maybe wouldn't put it right there. I kind of like the way we were going with Mama and then the next track, and maybe I would have put this one more towards the middle of the album. And then track 18, which is All the Time. My goodness, was I sleeping on this one. I was sleeping on the whole production actually of this. This song is actually so incredibly comforting, and I'm putting All the Time in A tier. And another fun fact on Plan A, similar to TEC, is All the Time transitions into Taste, which those songs do kind of match each other well, so that's really cool. You know, the album loops, but yeah, just like Monday to Sunday goes into Vest, which is just really fire. I love that TEC has been doing that, and I think a lot of the transitions, they weren't just spammed and used too much on this album. I thought they kept the pacing good on this album. I think it was kind of a perfect length for Tecca, and you got to give credit to him. These last couple albums, locking in with Internet Money, Taz Taylor, Census, Rio, I mean, so many guys. I'm forgetting so many names. I need to continue to study the credits a little more, but I thought overall it was well produced, and I like the style Tecca went for with the whole aesthetic with the leopard cheetah print thing that he was doing. He continues to be good, and I can continue to compliment Tecca all day because he, again, just remains consistent, doing his thing, staying in his own lane, and he's gonna be around a long time if he continues to do so. So to pop up my rating, as I do for every single album review on my channel, I'm gonna go ahead and give Lil Tecca's album just barely in the amazing category. And again, it is so close to TEC because I would probably have TEC there as well if I was doing these reviews a year ago. So in the comments, let me know if you think it's better or worse than TEC. Let me know your favorite song off Plan A. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end of this review. Like, comment, subscribe to both of my channels. I have a Twitter, Instagram. Go check me out there. Join the Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.